Hey, 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 what's going on? Happy New Year's to you and Happy New Year's to yours. Be safe out there. Don't get too drunk. Make sure that you stay social distance. I hope that you're vaxxed, if that's your deal. I want to tell you now, this is going to be the top stories of 2021, a recap of the year 2021 told in sports, news, politics, music, movies, television, RIPs. Now, the list is entirely too long to give to you here. So I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm going to go through what I think were the highlight moments of the year. But you can see my complete list if you just go to strangetalk.wixsite, wixsit.com. That is my website. You can go there. You can see the complete sports, news, RIPs, movies, television, and music list. But let's do this. And I appreciate you being with me. Once again, Happy New Year's to you. Happy 2022. I hope 2022 is a better year for you and yours than 2021 and 2020. No doubt about that. So we're going to say the top story for sure was COVID-19, where it was 55 million cases in the United States. 845 million people have died. 507 million people are vaccinated. Worldwide, we have 285 million cases. 5.5 million people have died. We've had two variants. We had the Delta variant and the Omicron variant, which we are dealing with right now. 2021 also gave us the U.S. Capitol riots, the protests and riots. Then we also had, at the time, the Vice President, Mike Pence, said he would support a bid by the Republican senators to overturn Joe Biden's election win in Congress. So that was some real craziness. Congress adopted the use of gender exclusive language. References to fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, husbands, and wives are now to be changed to parent, child, sibling, and spouse. That is ridiculous. You can't be somebody's brother. You can't be somebody's sister, mother, or father. You can only be a parent, a child, a sibling, or a spouse. Somebody could be your wife or your husband. The Democrats took control of the Senate. Now, with all the things that were going on, January 20th inauguration, believe it or not, was peaceful. We had our first female federal prisoner executed in 67 years, a woman who was called the Womb Raider. Her name was Lisa Montgomery. She was executed. We had a $730 million Powerball ticket sold in Maryland on 1/20/21, a 1 billion Mega Millions ticket sold in Michigan the very 2 days later on 1/22/21. Trump became the first president to be impeached for a second time. Trump's impeachment trial started on February 9th. The NRA filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Biden said that Trump would not receive intelligence briefings. On February 13th, a Saturday, the Senate acquitted Donald Trump for the second time by a vote of 57 guilty to 43 not guilty. I think it had to be a bigger majority than that. We had Winter Storm Uri, which killed 30 people and left 5 million people without power. The House passed a bill that would enshrine LGBTQ protection in the nation's labor and civil rights laws. The Boy Scouts of America proposed to pay $220 million towards a trust to compensate. Listen to this number, people. Tens of thousands of former members who were abused during their time as scouts. Tens of thousands of boys abused during their time as scouts. hate crimes against Asian Americans rose. We had this guy, Robert Aaron Long. He killed 8 people. He did this in 3 different locations. He was targeting massage parlors in Atlanta, Georgia. Deep fakes technology became a thing in 2021, where you could literally have somebody who looks like somebody on video and it not be them, but the deep fake technology was so good that it would fool people. The Vatican once again was back and forth on nonsense. They issued an official verdict saying that gay people should be treated with respect and that their unions, though not blessed, they would actually approve and encourage a same-sex lifestyle. They would not bless same-sex lifestyles because God cannot bless sin. So let me get that straight. They issued saying that even though they should be treated with respect, but their unions are not blessed. Okay. We had a border Colorado mass shooting. 10 people were killed at a King Snoopers grocery store. This was on March the 22nd. Ahmad Alyssa shot these people. We had the first openly, I can't say gay, let me straighten that out. First openly transgender person ratified by the cabinet, for the cabinet by the state, the Senate, was confirmed as the Assistant Health Secretary, and her name is Rachel Levine. New York City is going to be the first major city to end qualified immunity for police officers. All states should join New York City in this. Qualified immunity for police officers is a bad thing to have because they are not being held to account financially for anything that they do. The state and the city, which has the money to pay, will then still be the ones footing the bill. But if you tell a guy he's going to lose his pension, you tell a woman she's going to lose her home, they might not be as quick to draw that arm and kill somebody as they once were. Georgia new election laws came into place. They want voter ID requirements. They want absentee ballots. They want to limit drop boxes. They want to make the voting line shorter. And they want to even make it a crime to offer food or water to citizens waiting to vote. Shame on you, Georgia. On 4/1, me and my wife received our first COVID vaccination. We got our second COVID vaccination on 4/22. And 12/29, we got our booster shots. My first shot on 4/1 didn't bother me at all. My second shot on 4/22 had me with a little bit of I would say I felt like I had the flu for about 12 hours. Yesterday, 12/29, I got my booster shot. And for most of the day, I felt like crap. But there was no nausea, but I did have the chills. Today is the 31st actually of December 2021, and I am feeling completely fine. On 4/2, Noah Green drove his car into the barrier at the Capitol, killing Capitol Police Officer Billy Evans. Most states on 4/2 had dropped their domestic travel restrictions for vaccinated and both unvaccinated people. On 4/12, Kimberly Porter, a 26-year veteran on the police force in Minneapolis, shot dead Deontay Wright, a 20-year-old black man, during a traffic stop. And this happened 10 miles away from the George Floyd murder site. We'll get back to her at a later time. Now, she did resign at this time, and she was charged with second-degree manslaughter. This was on 4/15. Brandon Scott Hall, a 19-year-old, went on a rampage with an assault rifle at a FedEx warehouse near the Indianapolis airport before shooting himself, but he killed 8 people. Derek Chauvin's trial started on 3 29-21. On 4/20, the jury found him guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter in the deaths of George Floyd. There was a rash of police shooting after the Chauvin verdict, including Andrew Brown, Makia Bryant, Isaac Brown. These were people also killed by cops right after the Chauvin verdict. The Colonial Pipeline between Texas and New Jersey was hacked on 5/6, which meant that there was no gas. Actually, on 5/11, Florida, Virginia, Georgia, and North Carolina declared state of emergency over the gas shortage after the Capitol Pipeline hack. 1,000 fuel stations ran dry in the Southeast totally. 5/15 statewide mask mandates in most states was removed. I had a health issue scare, and I had to go to get myself a barium enema to make sure that everything was clean and clear with me. Chaplin Tower, the South Beachfront property in Miami, collapsed on 6/24. This was a Surfside neighborhood, upper scale area. 145 people were unaccounted for, and at least 18 people died when this building collapsed. On 6/25, Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22.5 years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. On 6/30, Bill Cosby was released from prison. Then later on, the Boy Scouts of America actually reached the $850 billion settlement with 60,000 men who brought sexual abuse charges against the organization. If this does not finish off the Boy Scouts of America, and I want to know where they get over $1 trillion, because if you have $850 billion that you have to pay in a settlement, that means you must have way over $1 trillion. This is outlandish. It's over 60,000. Think of that number: 60,000 men, child sexual abuse claims. Now, what has happened to these 60,000 men? What have they went on to do? How many people have they went on to abuse? Hopefully none. But the odds are those who get abused will become abusers. We had a heat wave summer of 2021. It was hot everywhere. Disgraced lawyer Michael Avenatti was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for trying to shake down Nike for $25 million. On 8/10, New York City Governor Andrew Cuomo resigned from office 1 week after an investigation concluded that he sexually harassed 11 women and retaliated against his accusers. Later on, his brother had to quit CNN because he had bailed on some stories about Andrew Cuomo, and he was trying to protect him in the media, so he also lost his job at CNN. DC decided that Batman's sidekick Robin will now be a bisexual. On 8/14, Haiti had an earthquake, a 7.2 magnitude shock, and it left 304 people dead. And they feared that this could go up even higher. We had Hurricane Ida, we had Hurricane Henry, who caused destructions. On 8/16, Biden's administration announced that they will start coming out with booster shots for all Americans, and they should take them 8 months after their second dose of the initial vaccine. Sirhan was paroled by the California State Department of Corrections after 53 years in prison. I went to Las Vegas from August 25th to September 1st. This year, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of 9/11, to never be forgotten. We had a mass shooting at a Kroger's in Collierville, Tennessee. R. Kelly was found guilty on all counts in sex trafficking trial in New York City. In September and October, we had a supply chain crisis. A supply chain crisis that we're still feeling the effects of today. I went back to Las Vegas 10/1 through 10/6, so I did get to at least do something in 2021. On 10/9, right as I returned home, thank God I had just returned home, Southwest canceled 2,000 flights that weekend. Workers quit their job at a rate of a record rate. 4.3 million people resigned their jobs in October. Nicholas Cruz entered guilty pleas in 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempt murder for the 2018 Mallory Stoneman Douglas High School killings. Facebook rebranded itself as Meta. Nobody cares. On 10/31, joining Southwest Airlines, American Airlines canceled 1,200 flights across the Halloween weekend. They blame bad weather and staff shortages. And once again, Southwest canceled more flights. Kyle Rittenhouse trial began on 11/2. Astroworld Festival tragedy. The Travis Scott Houston show, 8 concert goers lost their lives due to injury. Eric Adams, a former captain of the New York City Police Department and Brooklyn Borough Mayor, president, was elected the 110th and second black mayor of New York City. 11/8, international travel restrictions were lifted after 20 months. On 11/19, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of all charges. On 11/21, 5 people have been confirmed dead and 40 have been injured after Darrell Brooks Jr., SVU, plowed into a Christmas parade in Waushasta, Wisconsin. He broke through barriers and he hit these people, and at least 12 children were among the injured. This man ran over and killed people, including women and children. On 12/24, a Georgia jury found Travis and Gregory McMichaels and William Bryant guilty of the murder of Amadou Audrey. Scientists sound alarm over the worst ever super mutant COVID variation that could make vaccines 40% less effective. I guess that would be called Omicron. On 11/29, Jussie Smollett face crime report trial began. On 12/29, Jussie Smollett was convicted of orchestrating the 2019 fake racist and homophobic attack. He is yet to be sentenced, but he has been convicted. On 11/31, Ethan Crombie, 15 years old, a high school gunman, shot and killed 5 students. On 12/1, the United States confirmed the first case of the Omicron coronavirus variant has been identified in California. And on 12/8, Kimberly Porter trial in the murder of DeAndre Wright began. On 12/23, Kimberly Porter was found guilty of manslaughter in DeAndre Wright's death. It's no longer a death, it's a manslaughter or murder. Kentucky had the deadliest storms on 12/10. At least 70 people were killed by 18 tornadoes. More than 100 deaths may be expected in the state. This was the deadliest storm in 130 years. On 12/15, Derek Chauvin came back into court. He pleaded guilty to civil rights abuse for murdering George Floyd. This was federal. So he had another 3 years added to that 22.5-year sentence. He's trying to get his time be also federal, which won't work for him. Kichan Sewell, 49 years old, on January 1st will become the very first female commissioner of New York City Police Department, which will also make her the very first black female commissioner of the New York City Police Department. The coronavirus has caused a rash of Christmas, New Year cancellations. So United, Delta, JetBlues, and others have canceled the Christmas Eve's, Christmas Day flights leading into New Year's. And on 12/28, Giselle Maxwell was found guilty of sexual trafficking charges. She's the chick that's involved with Epstein. And that was basically your top news stories of the year. I am sure there are others that I have. Like I said, you would have to go to my website and check them out. They're all listed. I just didn't want to go to each and every one of them. I think that would have bored you to death, and that is just not what I'm trying to do. Now, our best movies and TV of the year was there was a documentary called The Bee Gees, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? We had the trial of the Chicago 7. Naturally, This Is Us, always great. Tony Parker, The Final Shot was great. There was a very good Tiger Woods documentary this year. The WWE actually left the WWE network and moved all of its streaming to Peacock. We Are the Brooklyn Saints was a very good documentary about football team, youth football in Brooklyn. 30 for 30, Al Davis versus the NFL was outstanding. The Black Church with Henry Louis Gates Jr. was very good. The United States versus Billie Holiday. Judas and the Black Messiah was great. Young Rock came on the scene. Trump Takes on the World was good. Coming to America, the remaking of Coming to America was very good. The Little Things was very good. Muscle Shoals was very good. Allen versus Farrell was outstanding. Genius, Aretha. The American Experience, The Blinding of Isaac Woodard, must watch. Robin Roberts presents the Mahalia Jackson story. Port Authority, Tina. Law and Order, Them, Godzilla versus Kong. Last Chance U dealt with basketball. Last Chance U basketball. The Falcon and the Winter Snowman. You had the Dark Side of Football, the Dark Side of the Rings, Biography Legends, WWE, The Shy, Black Monday, Biggie, I Have a Story to Tell, Flatbush Memoirs, Misdemeanors, I'm sorry, The Shy was great, City on the Hill was very good, The Last Year of Mr. In Between, The Last Year Pose. There was a movie called Nobody. 1971, the year music changed everything. China. My Name is Bolger. The Summer or Soul, or When the Revolution Could Be Televised. Studio 54, Behind the Scenes. We had Mavis. We had Barry. American Horror Stories. Power Book 3, Raising Canaan. Hard Knocks had the Dallas Cowboys. Hard Knocks also had the very first end season with the Indianapolis Colts. The Cocaine Cowboys, the Kings of Miami. The Suicide Squad 2021. The History of the Sitcom, Dark Side of the 90s. American Dream, American Nightmare, as in Suge Knight. The last season of F is for Family. King Richard, BMF, The Harder They Fall. I'm on the fence about Curb Your Enthusiasm. Season 10 was great, and some of season 11 is all right, but a lot of it is not good. The Many Saints of Newark. Dave Chappelle had his special called The Closer. What If, a Marvel series on Marvel characters. Wu-Tang and American Saga Season 2, outstanding. Bitching, The Sound and Fury of Rick James. Hills was great. Ted Lasso was great. American Horror Story was good. I want to see if I'm missing anything in here. Master Chef was good. Circus of Books. Mike Tyson, The Knockout. Tulsa Burning, the 1921 Race Massacre. Tulsa, The Fire and the Forgotten. Borak's American Lockdown and Debunking. The Sons of Sam, A Descent into Madness. Without Remorse, The Kitchen, Bad Trip, Eliminate All Brutes. Outstanding television. Bulletproof season 3. Unfortunately, we might not get another one because this Noel Clark ran into some Me Too issues, and it's kind of sad. If you can go back and watch all the Law and Order, the Stabler years, which is the very first 12 years, great. The Good Doctor was great. Hell's Kitchen was great. And that's basically it for television. I didn't listen to as much music, at least as much new albums I normally did, but these were what I found to be the best new albums of the year. The Foo Fighters, Medicine at Midnight. Neo, In My Own Words. Tiana Taylor, D&D. Robin Thicke, On Earth and in Heaven. Onyx released a new album called For Life. The Kings of Leon, When You See Yourself. Justin Bieber, Justice. Tiana Taylor, another album, Women of Death Jam. Sean Paul, Live and Living. Peter Gabriel, Plays Live. Khalid Khalid and Diamond D, Gotham. J. Cole, The Off Season. DJ K. Slave, Rolling 110 Deep. Nas, King's Disease 2. I was turned on to the song called Jerusalem by Master K and Nakimba. Fantastic song. Masters of War was another song that I was turned on that is now a part of my life. This is a Bob Dylan song, but you could check out the versions by Bob, Judy Collins, Pearl Jam, or Connie Gordon. All four of those versions are outstanding. The 2021 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class was Tina Turner, Carol Cole, The Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Foo Fighters, Todd Rundgren, Kraftwerk, Charlie Payton, and Gil Scott-Heron. LL Cool J, Billy Preston, and Randy Rhoads. Clarence Avon went in. Also, he received the Ahmet Ertegun Award. Now, sports. The New England Patriots coach turned down the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump. Dana White and ESPN did a really shitty thing. On Inauguration Day, they put on a free UFC card. Now, think about this. The inauguration usually happens on a weekday. UFC is never on a weekday. They actually wanted you to not watch the inauguration. So shame on ESPN and shame on you, Dana White and the UFC. Alabama won the 2021 national championship. They beat Ohio State 52-24. Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Trump's Bedminster golf course was stripped of his 2022 championship. The Super Bowl was won by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. Tom Brady won his 5th MVP and 7th Super Bowl. We had the first female official at a Super Bowl, Sarah Thomas. Tampa Bay Buccaneers featured 2 female coaches, Marla Jarafad and Lori Locust. So they're Super Bowl champions. The Timberwolves fired coach Ryan Sanders and hired Chris Finch. On 2/23, Tiger Woods was injured in that one car rollover accident that was pretty bad, and we don't know where he's going to be from there. Former Senator Kelly Loeffler is out as the owner of the NBA Atlanta Dream. They forced her out pretty much. Another black man won a WWE title, Bobby Lashley. And if I forget down the road, Big E then also won the WWE title this year. Les Miles was let go of in Kansas when his past LSU shenanigans surfaced. Dak Prescott signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with Dallas Cowboys. James Harden was traded from the Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. LaMarcus Aldridge came back out of retirement after retirement to join the Brooklyn Nets. Drew Brees announced his retirement after 20 seasons in the NFL. Sean Bradley, the 7'6" former NBA player who played 14 years, was paralyzed after having a car crash into his bicycle in Utah. Baylor won its first national champion in school history with a win over Gonzaga, 86-70. Now we're talking basketball here. Stanford wins the first national title since 1992 with a 54-53 win over Arizona. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks made history by becoming the first two black women to main event a WrestleMania. Roy Williams retired as the head coach of UNC basketball program. Herbert Davis became the new head coach. He did some foolish things and said some really crazy things after he got this job, but you have to listen back to an older show to see that. The Masters had their very first Japanese Masters champion. Hideki Matsuyama won the Masters to become the very first Japanese major champion. Like I said earlier, LaMarcus Aldridge retired after 15 seasons in the NBA, but he returned to the Nets 5 months after he was having some irregular heartbeats. Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. The NBA 2020 and 2021 Hall of Fame class, because they didn't have a show last year and they thought that these people deserved to have an audience, which I believe they did. The 2020 class was Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Tamika Catchings, Rudy Tomjanovich, and Eddie Sutton. They went in this year with Rick Edelman, Chris Bosh, Paul Pierce, Bill Russell for coaching, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, Jay Wright, Yolanda Griffin, Lauren Jackson, Cotton Fitzsimmons, Tony Kukoc, and Bob Dandridge. So they blended the two classes together because it was actually able to have a live studio audience. There was a rash of no-hitters in baseball, no less than 8 no-hitters this year. Nikola Djokovic won the NBA MVP. Naomi Osaka had some mental health concerns and had to withdraw from the French Open. John Rahm tested positive for COVID several times, including one time he was leading on day 3 by 6 strokes at the Memorial Tournament. He also later on won the U.S. Open Championship. The NFL got its first openly gay player. Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Carl Nassib became the very first active player in the history of the league to announce that he was a homosexual. On 6/28, the Board of Governors of the NCAA approved a rule change allowing college students to profit off their name and likeness, which changes everything. These kids now have sneakers. By now, as I'm speaking, some of them have sneaker and endorsement deals and things of that nature. Shachari Richardson, who was a U.S. Olympic sprinter, favorite heading into the Olympics because we did have the Olympics this year. She was suspended after testing positive for marijuana. Shioni Otani became the first player in Major League history to be named to the All-Star team as a hitter and a pitcher, a position player and a hitter. The Tampa Bay Lightning repeated as Stanley Cup champions. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championships. They beat the Phoenix Suns 4-2. Giannis Antetokounmpo was the MVP. This was Milwaukee Bucks' first title since 1971. The Cleveland Indians will no longer be the Cleveland Indians effective after the 2021 season. Welcome the Cleveland Guardians, people. Simone Biles had a weird Olympics. She was injured and she was on and off of the Olympic gymnastic team in Tokyo. Our gold medal count in the 2021 Olympics was 39 gold, 41 silvers, and 33 bronze for a total of 113 medals. The NBA, no, my goodness, Major League Baseball Hall of Fame class, just like the Hall of Fame class from the NBA, they wanted them to have it done live. So here was your 2020 class: Derek Jeter, Marvin Miller, Ted Simmons, and Larry Walker. And actually, there was no 2021 class. So they inducted the 2020 class in this year. Like I said earlier, Big E won the WWE Championship. He did that on 9/13. Justin Tucker on 9/26 hit a 66-yard field goal on the final play of the game to beat the Detroit Lions. 66 yards. The Chicago Stars won the WNBA championship for the first time in their franchise history. Tyson Fury knocked out Deontay Wilder in their trilogy to retain his title. John Gruden had to resign as the Raiders coach after some email controversies surfaced. LSU fired Ed Orgeron. The NBA announced their 75th anniversary team. The Braves beat the Astros in the World Series 4-2 for their first title since 1995, and Jorge Soler was the MVP. Henry Ruggs III, a wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, was involved with a DUI and reckless driving fatal accident in Las Vegas. He was the 12th pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, and the victim was this young lady named Tina Tenor. The Cleveland Browns released Odell Beckham Jr., but the Rams wind up signing him. Bryce Young won your National League MVP. Shahoni Tony won your American League MVP. Robbie Ray was your Cy Young for the American. Corbin Burns was the NL Cy Young. And for the second straight year, Kevin Cash for Tampa Bay Rays is the Manager of the Year. Gabe Kapler was the National League Manager of the Year. Major League Baseball collective bargaining agreement expired on December 1st, 2021. So they had a lockdown for the first time since 1994. They cannot do any activities until the players are unlocked. That means all transactions, all agreements as of right now are frozen. Major League Baseball announced their 2022 class for the Hall of Fame. Manny Minoso, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Tony Avila, Buck O'Neil, and Bud Fowler. No modern day players. Matter of fact, only 2 of these 6 players are actually even still alive. Stephen Curry became the new three-point king. The Jacksonville Jaguars fired Urban Myers after 13 games with a 2-11 record. Bryce Young became Alabama's first quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy. Kyrie Irving, who has been held out due to non-vaccination status, will play part-time for the Nets, and starting 2017, he has been reinstated to rejoin the Nets. The NFL on 12/17 had to postpone several games. They had to postpone the Browns-Raiders game, Seahawks-Rams game, Washington-Eagles game. And not postponed, they had to reschedule. All these games were rescheduled. We actually had Tuesday afternoon games. Can you believe that? There was football on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The NCAA has had to actually cancel several bowl games. The Holiday Bowl, the Military Bowl, the Fenway Bowl, and the Gator Bowl, which was actually Texas A&M was supposed to play in the Gator Bowl, but since they were not able to, Rutgers stepped into that grave and decided that they would play. So I'm going to say my rest in pieces, and I'm going to call it a year, okay? This year we lost notorious people, we lost innocent people, we lost celebrities, we lost sports figures, we lost infamous, all kinds of people. You name them, we lost them. I mean, over 200 people of some kind of note have died this year. We've had the COVID-19 victims, Tommy Lasorda, Siegfried from Siegfried and Roy, Hank Aaron, Cloris Leachman, Cicely Tyson, John Chaney, Dustin Diamond, Butch Reed, the wrestler, Larry Flynn, Jim Crockett Jr., Yaphet Kotto, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We had mass shooting victims, Charles Mumps Grand. We had Eric Earl DMX Simmons. We had the FedEx house shootings, Shock G, Jerome New Jack Young, Paul Mooney, Clarence Williams III, Tawny Katane, Munster Cody Scott. The Haitian president was assassinated, Jonel Mose, Charles Robinson, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Biz Marquis, Dustin Hill, Sonny Chiba, Joe Walton, Dominic DiNucci, Don Everly, Charlie Watts, Ed Asner, Michael K. Williams, Mario Van Peebles, Tommy Kirk, Granville Adams. Oz really took it bad this year, people. Took it bad. John Madden, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the people of the Kentucky Deadliest Storms, Ann Rice, the Kango Kid, Bob Dole, Demarius Thomas, the Astroworld Festival deaths, Charles Moose. These were some of the people who we lost this year. I can't name them all, but you can go through the list. Everybody is listed there. You could see the names. I have them listed. Frederick Drake Price died this year. Roy died this year. Like I said, and here are the notorious or infamous people who died. Ronald DeFay, Russ Limbaugh, Peter Gotti, Phil Spector, Bernie Madoff, F. Lee Bailey, John McAfee, Alberto Alpo Martinez, Sean Rutan, Marcus Lamb, and T. Rogers. It's been my pleasure talking to you. It's been my pleasure bringing you back in thought some of the things that happened in 2021. I'm hoping for a better year in 2022. And like I said, you could just always just go to my website and see what I'm up to. Matter of fact, I'm starting a running fluid list for 2022. If you have any suggestions, you could just hit me up. And you can hit me up by going to my website. Like I said, it's Strange Talk Doc, period, wixsite.com. Quite simple. And there I have a running board of who passed away, top stories, top news, top music, top, you know me, you name it. Anything that happens in 2022, I'm going to document and then talk about. As you can see, I keep it kind of shotgun style. It's not something I want to draw out very long. I appreciate you. I appreciate you helping my numbers improve in 2021. I appreciate every time somebody shouts out to me and says anything, positive or negative. I appreciate every like. I appreciate every share. I'm an appreciative person because there's a lot of other things that you can do and you don't have to do them with me. So I say, bless you. You have a great New Year's. You have a great, wonderful, blessed time. Just be safe, be good to others, and be good to yourself. If you be really good to yourself, you'll be good to others. They go hand in hand. They really do go hand in hand. Being good to you means you're automatically good to other people. Okay? So I'm going to tell you, like I tell you each and every time, people, peace to you and peace to yours.